Hey everyone, it's Michael Goosebumps fan. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review for a thing like Goosebumps, and that would be on this other double pack of a film I already reviewed. This is the other movie in this pack. I talked about The Return of Dracula a while back, probably about 6 or 8 months ago, somewhere in that ballpark, and I liked that flick a lot, if not loved it. I thought it was a really solid, awesome movie. Really enjoyed that. It has a lot of great love for the old Bela Lugosi Universal Monsters flick too, even though these aren't even put out by Universal. These are put out by MGM, I believe. Anyway, this one is the 1957 movie The Vampire. Sorry, I had to look at IMDb to make sure I got the date right. Yeah, The Vampire. Here's The Return of Dracula, but here's The Vampire, what we're going to be talking about. The Vampire wasn't as good as Return of Dracula, but it was good in its own regard. I had a good time watching this. I had a good time just overall ingesting this movie. It was good. It was actually very well done, very well made for what it was as a 57 movie. Of course, here on things like Goosebumps, I talk about things that are kind of what I think would be inspirations for R.L. Stine's book series, Goosebumps, which I have a whole channel based around if you haven't noticed yet. And The Vampire is just, it's really solid. I really dig it. I think it's a very oddball movie. Oddly enough, there's like a big theme in here, kind of a metaphor about drug addiction. Sorta, kinda. And the drug addiction thing is extremely profound for what this movie is doing. I was actually kind of surprised. I really didn't pick up on it until this morning when I watched the last 15 minutes of the movie. I was really tired yesterday from a lack of sleep, so I didn't finish watching it last night. Essentially, you have a doctor in this flick who, he has headaches pretty often. He's kind of in a small town area too as a doctor, so he kind of just lets patients come in and pay what they can over time to pay their bills off. Very sweet man, very kind man. John, is it Beale? I think it's John Beale. Yeah, John Beale is playing this particular doctor, and I love him. He's so good in this flick. The movie is not perfect by any means, but he's very good at it. He's very caring and very loving. I love his nurse. Colleen Gray plays her. She is a beauty woman, man. She is just an absolute knockout. So John Beale, the doctor, has these major headaches, like I said, and essentially he gets his daughter, who is kind of always in the house with him when he kind of practices his doctor stuff, and she essentially has to get him his pills. She gets out of possibly the wrong pocket, gives him one of the pills, and he starts kind of getting addicted to these things, but they also start turning him into a crazy freak. I don't like calling this movie The Vampire. It's kind of stupid to do that. It's not really a vampire flick of any means. It has little pieces here or there that are kind of like a vampire flick. They remind me a whole lot of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, by the way. But there's not a whole lot here to really call it a vampire movie. So they kind of take a Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman transformation scene type of thing for this movie. It doesn't look very good, to be honest with you. The monster itself, the transformations look fine. It's kind of just, plastering and kind of fading shots within shots. But in particular, the monster itself does not look good at all. It's kind of like just really swollen, puffy skin and stuff. He loses his fingernails on his fingers. Not that they fall off, they just kind of have skin grow over them. It's really odd. I don't know. But apparently this doctor is turning into this each night and killing people in the town. I guess sucking their blood. One lady has bite marks on her neck. I don't really understand why, but she does. When you see how people die in this movie, there's not really any understanding as to why they have a hole in their neck. It's not really brought up at any other point, so I don't know if all the victims have the hole in their neck or what. But even so, I enjoy it. There was a really great jump scare in here, too, of a casket being opened. Like, these guys had to dig up a grave. They opened up the casket. What they saw inside of that casket was horrifying. It would have scared me to death when I was a kid. I really liked The Vampire overall. It wasn't wonderful. It wasn't, like, super engaging, but it was fun to watch. I had a good time with it. Black and white flick, of course. But yeah, it was interesting. It was fun. I don't really understand what the point of having this cover here where he's, like, holding this woman over. I don't know what the point of that is because it doesn't happen in the movie, ever. And there's kind of a subplot, too, of a particular cop who's, like, undercover, sort of, kind of, but kind of not. Everybody else is wearing their cop uniforms in the cop office, but he's not. I don't know. But he's doing an investigation on all these people who are dying of heart attacks, which also happen to have these bite marks on their neck, these 2 holes. No one seems to talk about that for whatever reason. But people keep having heart attacks left and right. I'm assuming the doctor's the one killing them. And this particular investigator is investigating this situation and talking to the doctor too, asking him different questions about different people. It's a fun flick. I had a good time with this. It's not like a perfect movie by any means, but it's enjoyable, for sure. A really fun time. If you like old black and white horror films, you'll like this. If you like Goosebumps, you'll probably like this. Really engaging, really well made. I'm surprising how good the DVD transfer looks here. I have a lot of these Mill Creek Entertainment VHS to DVD transfers, and they typically look okay. They can kind of be a little fuzzy depending on what we're talking about. If it's not a Living Dead, it looks really good. If it's something else like Nosferatu, it can be a little poppy, but it's a really old flick to begin with, so what do you expect? But some 50s flicks don't look that great on there, like Attack of the Giant Leeches and stuff. But The Vampire looked really good on this release from MGM, for Midnight Movies. I want to get more of these Midnight Movies packs, these double packs, because they have a lot of them out there for sci-fi flicks and fantasy flicks and horror and stuff they made back in the day. There could be some really good stuff out there that I'm missing out on. So, you know, Amazon Prime usually has a lot of different, like, monster movies, black and white horror films and stuff. I usually watch those on there and then come and make my things like Goosebumps videos on them. But, you know, it's nice when I can own them. I like to own things physical media-wise because digital is not the same thing. They edit and censor media all the time on the digital stuff. I do not like that. I don't find that okay. But anyway, when it comes to The Vampire, have you guys seen it? What did you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. If I had to rate the film on a 5-star basis, I'd probably give it about a 3 out of 5 stars. I think in some regards, the monster should have looked better. If the monster had looked better, this would have been like a 4 for me. He's really just kind of a swollen, allergy-infested mess, you know? I don't really know what to call it. If you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about, but, overall, this is a fine flick. I enjoyed it. Colleen Gray is really good in here. John Beale is really good in here. Even the little girl playing the daughter is really good in here, too. It was a fun time. It was a fun time. I had a good time with it. Some pretty sad stuff happens in here, too. You know, and the addiction aspect and the metaphor there is really impactful in a lot of good ways. So it has a lot of benefit to it, even though it's not a perfect movie. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, The Vampire. What are your thoughts? Again, put them down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. And again, thank you for watching. God bless you. Goodbye.